Hi, air conditioning. Universal kit from ECC Auto Shop. Really cool kit. Got everything you need. All the basic crap and all that, you know. Here's the compressor. Nice, big and shiny. Pretty stiff on there. And for the standard compressor they give you, I have an LO5 small block. So this is pretty much something you'd find in a Blazer or like some truck or some crap like that. It's got the roller assembly in it. Not assembly, but it's tapped for rollers. The block is tapped. You're gonna have a bracket something like that. Something like this. Tensioner up there, alternator up here, water pump, idler pulley. I need to get a longer belt. You will need a longer belt once you install this because the stock AC delete pulley you get for these R4 pancake compressors, I think it's a bit smaller than this right here. And also because it pushes it out a bit. Your pulley, instead of being here, is gonna be up here, like where this is. This is a 94.08 inch belt, whatever, that's how I say it. And before, this was a good sized belt, like it was perfect, no squeaking, no nothing. I was able to use this idler pulley too, but I can't use it anymore because of course this compressor makes me need a new belt. This is a Daco 5060950. I need to get the 95.5 inch belt. I think that'll fix my problem here, so I can route it over the idler pulley so it actually uses it. You can run it like this, and I can run like that just fine. I can go wherever I want, but I just like having a longer belt so I can use all the pulleys, maximum security. And here's the accumulator. Of course, you need to hook this up the right way. I've got it bolted through the fender right here. Keep it somewhat distance away from your headers. This is the best I can do so I can actually, you know, have everything connected with the harness they supply. Of course, I'm not gonna put all the way back there because then I have to use a shitload of hose. Apart from that, also make sure there's this in lettering right here on the top of the accumulator when you get it. What that is that's the direction the refrigerant is going to be flowing through. You cannot mount this backwards. So you can strap it wherever you want like I did, and you have this cushion here so it holds it more snug. I saw someone else in their YouTube video doing that and it sounded smart. And it does help. Of course it looks ugly with what I got here. You can just use a black piece of foam if you have it, but it works, I don't care. Make sure that in is facing towards the condenser in there. That's very ugly how it's mounted. I'll show you that later. Because these bolts here on the sides are for the binary switch. You take one out and then you screw the other one in. You screw a binary switch in there and it'll be connected to a harness here somewhere. So yeah, make sure that inlet is facing the condenser because that condenser line from the bottom is going to come up and connect there. And then this should connect to the blower motor inside of the car, which I already have. And as for the condenser, it is mounted very sloppily and terribly. Yeah, it's ugly. This isn't a 50s car, as you can see. It's a second gen F body, so it's pretty big. I've got some space in here to work with, but as you can see, this long bar here is actually one of the, look at that, it shakes, but it works for me, really. I don't care. Like it's stuff on there. It's got 3 mounting points. It's not gonna fall off. If anything, it's gonna not wobble with the radiator sitting against it, because this is obviously like just pulled out of the way for a second. This is gonna be sitting in there under this little tang right here, and that's where that's sitting. It's not super close, but it's close enough. But this bracket here is actually for the blower motor when you mount it inside of the dashboard. For your case, you might have to use this for that. For me, I didn't, because I'll show you the way I mounted the blower motor under the dash in this car. It's a universal kit, so it's not specifically made for a Firebird, but it actually helped me, this case, to mount it to the factory bracket here for the old condenser, because obviously it's much smaller. And I got these little bolt kits, Harbor Freight. They help a lot, very useful. You're gonna need it, trust me. And here's the condenser fan they give you. You can bolt it up to the condenser like that, with the bolt holes on top, or they give you the ratchet strings that you can zip through the fins in the condenser and then strap it on that way. But I chose to bolt it on. I don't really want to stick shit through my condenser or whatever. Here's the other side where I mounted it to. See, funny thing is, this is actually the rotted side. So there's no bottom bolt there. So there's just one singular bolt up here. You can't see it. So this is all bolted on by one pretty sturdy bolt up here. And that's it. I don't have the bottom part of this. It's been rotted off. I can show you that down here. Oh no. It's completely gone. Oh my fuck. Yeah, it's completely rotted away. So I've only got one bolt up there. It's very sketch installation, but we've got this brace up here to catch it if anything goes wrong. And if anything, you should definitely use Loctite on those bolts that are holding everything together. 100%. It's very sketch, but it works. And after all this, what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna wire the fan. It's gotta be grounded, and it's gonna have power to the relay where it's gonna give you a big wiring harness, and then you're gonna connect the fan to it. You connect this from the compressor. It's a very plug and play kit, easy. It has the little tags of where everything's supposed to go. It's easy to follow. And yeah, what I have to do now is rig up the hoses with these fittings. Make sure they're pointing the right direction, because my hoses are gonna flow through here. There's some holes down here or spaces that they can flow through. And yeah, I'll tell you a bit more about this whole kit soon. I still have to rig everything up. So I've rigged up some hoses now. Here's the high pressure side for the compressor that goes to the top of the condenser right there. If you're mounting it sideways like I am, it's a 508 Sandon compressor, because the hood's probably gonna smack it. So I was like, I might wanna, turn it 90 degrees. If you're mounting it this way, if you open this gold cap down here, oil will come out, because I freaking spilled some and that sucks. And if you don't want to drop oil, obviously be careful. So when you tie this in, when you install this line here, take the nuts off, tilt the compressor up, and then install it facing up, and then put it down again. Please don't mess that up, because right now, of course, it's sealed, no more leaking, all that. Oil will spill out, and I think it's okay, because you can mount it like this. You can mount it 90 degrees to the left or right. I'm doing it the right because obviously my roof. It should work. Nothing changes really. Just don't mount it upside down, I'm sure. That's the oil fill port, but I'm pretty sure you can just fill it by charging the system anyway. There's oil already in the compressor, by the way. They come pre-filled, so there should be plenty of oil in there. And right now, I am currently doing the accumulator. So I crimped that end down there from the bottom, the smaller fitting on the bottom of the condenser. The top one is bigger, and that is what connects to the high side. What is this? This is the discharge side. So definitely important. What is this? Would be a 13th, 16th hose, but it'll say CH 10.05 on it. This is pretty much what this one hose will be used for in the kit. You have other hoses. You have a bigger and smaller one. This is the smaller one. You will pretty much have to cut this so it can go into the blower motor inside. Right now I'm tying this to that, and it should be easy. I'll show you how to cut that up and crimp it. Really helpful tool, by the way. Harbor Freight PVC cutter, ratchets, opens up like that. Really helps a lot. The entire kit comes with hose clamps to attach these to the fittings, but I really don't like that. It looks cheap as hell. So I got this right here. It's basically a giant crimper. for hydraulic lines and hoses. Cheapest you can find them for like $150, maybe used on Amazon for cheaper. I got this for pretty cheap, but it's definitely worth it. What you want to do is you got these little fittings here that come in the case. They look like that, little rubber molds, and you drop them into the fitting here inside of the crimper. So you put the square into the square. There, that easy. Then if you want to crimp it, you simply put the crimp inside, close it up, and you'll have this little pin here. Make sure that's in before you do anything so it actually, you know, holds steady. Like that. Little pin to lock it in place. But yeah, super easy. Very well worth it. You can do power steering lines, AC hoses like this, and it'll save your ass in the long run, trust me. We're gonna spend money to do these things, but it'll cost less than a vintage air kit, that's for sure. So of course, for every little fitting you get here, you got a little O-ring. So what you do is every single one of these fittings will have this little nipple here, and an O-ring should be able to match it just like that. I like to put them on first before I put them in the little fitting they're supposed to go into. That way I don't have any problems screwing the nut on, because sometimes that sucks. But they're pretty much gonna sit like that inside of the fitting. So no leaks, nothing, nice and snug fit. You could use compressor oil if you're having a hard time smushing the fittings into the hose. But for me, I'm doing fine. Just put the little sleeve on first and then put that nipple inside of the hose. There, perfect, just like that. It slides in, and from there, you would crimp it. So that's what I'm gonna do now. Grab your crimp. This is an 8 size, I'm sure. Is it? Yeah, it is, all right. You grab your hose, you put it inside the crimper. You make sure this pin is inside of the crimper jaw. And then you got a knob here that says reset or work. Obviously you want it in the work position because as you press this handle, it will squeeze. And it's gonna squeeze and squeeze and squeeze until you can't anymore. And when you can't squeeze it no more, that's when you know you're done. Let me just do it here for you. Come on, I'm trying to get this over with. There we go. Now just keep squeezing it until you can't anymore. It might get hard. Oh. God damn, bro. Now you put in reset position and then let go. Wasn't that great of a crimp job, but it'll hold. Literally, that's all you need, man. It works for me. It holds. These hoses are really tight, so it's not like it's gonna explode. Now you just screw it into the fitting. Try to keep it as tidy as possible, of course. Might have to turn the dryer a bit. All right, I gotta loosen this up. There you go. Perfect. I can tighten that back up. Right now I'm going to put the binary switch in. Pretty much this little fitting here that bolts right into the dryer right here. Take off this little green grommet here. There you go. That's how it's supposed to look. Looks pretty cool. Bolt. Just a little bolt that's got to go. This little black thing. Replace it with this. Obviously, as you may know, everything here is pretty much aluminum, so really don't screw it up and over tighten crap and strip bolts and shit, because the last thing you want is something you can't return because you broke it. So now that I put that line on the accumulator there, we need to use the other side of that filter to go straight to the evaporator inside the dash. So what I'm gonna do is you can have two things. You can either get a bulkhead so you can attach it to the firewall and then use a fitting to connect it to that, or just your trusty old drill bit right here, a step drill bit, so you can drill a hole so you could funnel that AC line through and then use grommets to cover it up so they have no leaks. By the way, the instructions that come with the kit, the ECC Auto Shop air conditioning kit, are kind of weird. A little bit grammatical, some grammatical errors and things like that. But it does describe which fitting goes where, and it's actually useful if you learn to understand it. You gotta read over it a little bit. Turns out that each fitting has this little blue cap on it, obviously, as you can see, to protect it, keep it dry, clean, all that. Inside of each cap is actually the lettering of the exact dimensions of the fitting. Like this is a 5/8 18 fitting. It's probably the thread depth, but this is more than enough to tell you exactly which fitting goes where according to the instructions. Each assembly part is labeled by a number. Like each hose fitting is probably 1, 2, or A or B, and then it tells you what exact part goes where. It's a little bit to figure out, but that's actually useful. This is a 5/8 18 fitting that goes to the dryer right here. Little fitting that goes there, super simple. Or you can just look at what I've got here in my setup. But that does help a lot. Done a lot, rigging up wires. I'd show the process, but I gotta get this done as fast as possible. The Florida heat is not fun to work in, but as you can see, lines are crimped properly and with a lot of force. Make sure those hoses don't swivel on the fittings. Binary switch, both compressor fittings right here. Your fitting might be gold too. The bigger side is the suction side. The smaller side is the distribution, whatever, I forgot. High pressure side, low pressure side. Simple as that, whatever. It's red, blue, yeah. Got those crimped properly down there. So that's pretty much ready to get set up. I found my own little holes to where I can fit these wires through, fit these hoses. Now I'm drilling holes into the original AC delete panel. So how's that? Using the grommets to the best of my ability. Hoses are a bit bent. I want to have a little bit of extra slack just in case I might have cut wrong. Inside here it's a bit of a mess, but there's that bottom part crimped. I have to tighten that. Then up there is the last connection I gotta make. And as you can see, I shoved this in there it's a tight fit, but it works. Back there, the motor is just sitting on the bell housing of the transmission. Not really the bell housing, but the floor. but it's fine, really. Doesn't really shake, doesn't move. I've driven it with it like that. I have that zip tied for now, but I definitely gotta find some brackets for that, bolts. I don't want to drill anything down here. I'm trying to drill as least as possible. I'm drilling those holes because obviously an AC delete panel is reusable, and obviously I have to take the hoses and shove them through the freaking firewall. But yeah, I'll try to get that last fitting in right here to 90-degree elbow. It's gonna be a tight squeeze through that hole, but hopefully it works. And then after that, it's just the wiring, and then we should be good. And that's that. Everything's in place. Got your fan down there wired correctly. Black on ground, green to power, as you can see, connected there to that black shrink connector to that white wire. And that white wire goes all the way through the front wall here to this connector. And this is the whole harness they give you. Is this relay and all this black wrap you see. Look, everything is labeled. Dryer, which is right here, the binary switch connector. It is really easy. Everything's pretty much cut out straight for you. I got both wires going through the dash. The top wire, the top hose, I didn't really get a grommet through it. It's really tough. I gotta see what I gotta do about that. Make that hole bigger. But everything's zip tied up here. Compressor wire is hooked up to that connector, super easy. For the fan wire that you see here, the connector, you have to crimp that connector pin in there yourself into this female connector, or male connector actually, and then you could click those two together. So everything up there is done. Compressor is hooked up, belt, all that. And the compressor they give you from the Sandin will be an 8 rib, but it doesn't matter. I have a 6 rib. It'll work fine. It's not a big deal. And inside here, everything is all hooked up as well. Nice and tight, going through the firewall. Up there, I actually found a wire, a hole through the firewall in factory to get that that box, damn, what's it called? That evaporator wire through that, so I can plug that through the harness as well. Super easy. And then in here, you can see that's the box. Over here is the temperature. The switch isn't really long enough to go throughout the dash here, so you'd have to probably lengthen them yourself. You got these connectors here, they're kind of tough to remove. I don't want to cut anything yet. And then here's the air, like the air speed, the strength of how fast the air flows out through the blower motor. That works. And then for the power and ground for that box, it's fairly easy. All you need is a ground and then a 12-volt switch power source, which is basically just this blue tap right here, 12-volt switch. It'll be labeled. Don't worry, everything is labeled on this kit. This red wire, I have to splice it to a longer wire because it was too short, all the way to ignition. There's an empty slot in my fuse box where I could use that, so it was really convenient. There's a few ignition slots I can use on this car. So as soon as I turn the key, I can use the blower motors right there. And as for the ground, it is right on top of me to any ground spot. I have it back here, but you can't see it. Literally so easy. All you gotta do is just ground it, power, you got it. You could use battery power, I'm sure. But I reached out to customer service. They always answer. They just told me just to hook it up to a switch, so I did that and it works fine. I'll show you guys how it works right now. Everything's hooked up correctly. It's super simple to hook up, really. Keys in. This is a fan right there. Accessories. And then here's ignition. See that wire? And once I turn this air, look at that. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's blowing. And it's blowing pretty nice. That's great to see, man. This one has 4 holes, so you could use it for the 4 vents you've got on your dash, or 2 on defrost. I might do that because it's very humid out here. But that is great, man. Perfect. Just what I needed. There's a blue light telling you if it gets power too, so that's helpful. Since we're all done here, just charging the system, crank that vacuum pump up at around 30 inches of mercury, which is pretty good. Just charging the system up, all finished, hooked up. Everything looks okay. Took a little test drive to pick up a vacuum pump. And the pressure's at around 30 inches of mercury, which is good. Kept that holding there. Let's see how long this holds up. I'll wait like 40 minutes, 30, 40, maybe an hour, see what's up. I'll see if the system stays put. Hopefully no leaks. So here I am charging the system, and it's holding vacuum good. Hasn't lost a bit, so that's how we know we did a good job. With all the fittings, nothing's loose, nothing's leaking. And check this out. See, you can buy a vacuum pump for yourself at Harbor Freight, which is what I definitely should have done now. Or you can rent one from O'Reilly's, but you can risk this piece of crap breaking and now it can't pull a vacuum anymore. So now I need a new cap for it. Great, thanks. Freaking auto parts stores. This is why I don't order shit from auto parts stores anymore. Like, look at that. It's not an ordering thing or parts issue, but it's just broken. Like, they don't even check for a broken cap. It was literally hanging by a thread. I thought it wouldn't do anything, but it literally just shattered now. So I can't reliably pull more vacuum out of it without sticking my finger to hold it, and that kind of hurts. It sucks your blood and all that. So great. I could go ahead and just throw Freon in it, but I'm not gonna do that. I want to do this properly. After your initial vacuum check to check for leaks, you should turn on the pump for another 40 minutes just to evacuate any humidity, water, air, and dirt from inside the hoses, so you can be extra sure it's clean and so it cools properly. But hey, that's fine. I'll just get my own pump. Definitely buy your own pump, guys, if you can. Piece of junk. This video is gonna be super sporadic, as in this isn't really a how-to step-by-step video, but I want to put as much detail as I can as possible. So at this point on, I'm pretty much going to tell you every little thing that I had to do in regarding to my setup, because my car is this and not probably what yours is. But if you have my unit, which is the one that basically allows you to route the hoses wherever you want, like I routed mine in here. There's one slot, and then there's one here that I'm trying to figure out. I'm gonna put like a zip tie up here somewhere so I can like hold it up, because as you can see in there, it's like flopping around. There's like a little clip in there that's from the factory that's really helpful, but it's very peculiar. I had to take off the bezel for it. There's a lot to do. Also, the AC hoses aren't the only things to worry about going to the firewall. You're also gonna have a condenser drain, like excess water is gonna spit down here, as you can see. That's all water, of course, because refrigerant's going in there. So you should route the hoses. They give you a hose kit, and then you can route it out there so it drains into the bottom of the car or the floor, literally anywhere. This is going to be quite a messy video, because I've done it over like 3 days installing it, but in general it should take you under a day, like 4 or 5 hours. It just took me a while because I chose to mount the compressor and the condenser on different days. But here's a bunch of different pictures on the instructions. They give you like 6 papers worth, and they're kind of useful, but they're also very basic. Mine are all crumpled because they got wet. My car leaks water when it rains, so let me just show you some of these and you can pause and read them. This is the very first one you're gonna see. A very basic picture of what an AC system even is. It is helpful though, because these letters and numbers are going to tell you where to put the fittings and hoses. And pretty much you got everything you need: compressor, condenser, the fan mounts in front or back, whichever you want. You got the accumulator here, the dryer cylinder. Expansion valve is going to be connected to the evaporator. They're both one thing. Like this is going to be sitting off of the side right here. It's under the big port that's on top of it. There's that. And then you've got the hose fitting description, which is pretty much every single hose you're going to need, which they already give you. There's 3 sides. Just if you want to ignore the numbers for now, there's a big hose, a medium hose, and a small hose. The small hose is going to be the 5/16 one right here. And it's going to be the condenser to the dryer, and then the dryer to the evaporator. So you're pretty much going to cut that long, skinny hose in 2. That's pretty much what's going to happen here. For these 2, the big one, the 1/2 inch hose, is for the evaporator to the compressor. This is the low pressure side. So basically, the blue port, the blue little cap on top is the low pressure side. That goes to the big fitting on the evaporator inside the dash. It'll tell you everything here. Run for evaporator under the dash unit, yada yada. It tells you everything. Now the second one is a 13/32, aka the medium size hose. So it's the middle 2, not the small one, not the big one, but the middle size. It's going to be the high pressure side from the compressor to the condenser. So it's going to go to the top of the condenser. The bigger fitting on the condenser is for this hose. So that's pretty much it. That's the hose fittings. This is the hose mostly. And then here are the hose fittings. So pretty much every single one of those aluminum fittings with the O-ring and all that. There's also 3 sizes of O-rings, obviously. They're little green O-rings, easy to put on. There's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and yeah, that's it. 2 little notes down here. You can read that, super helpful. Got 7/8, 3/4, 5/8. So pretty much 3 sizes of hoses. And then they could either be straight fittings or 90-degree fittings. And just like that, you can read that, use it for yourself. Maybe you're building your own kit. And then here is the condenser fan and how to wire it. You can wire it in 2 different ways. There's a pusher mode, which is this, which is how I have it mounted right now. Like it's facing the front. And as I drive, the air comes straight through it. And then the polar mode. So for I don't pay attention to this really because this thing kind of confused it for me. This thing sucks. I didn't really like it. Basically what I've done is because I have the fan like here. The condenser is here. This is facing the front bumper. I have it so the prop spins in a way that sucks air. It just sucks air. And how I have that is the black wire is the ground, and then the green or blue wire, for me it's green, the green wire is power. It's that simple. Nothing more than that. The green the green line will connect to the harness. You had a little connector they give you inside the box. You have to crimp it on there, whatever. I don't pay attention to this. If you're gonna have it mounted towards the motor, then you can switch those 2, I guess, depending on which way you want the prop to spin. So it pushes air. So it pushes air through the fan or pulls air out of the fan. So if you want to do that, I guess reverse it. So green will be your ground and black would be the harness power. But for me, I just have it like this. It's simple. I have enough space in the front bumper assembly. I have a big ginormous radiator behind it, aluminum, so it also helps pull air through that. And that's that. So you can also mount the fan to the condenser really easily. You have these little tangs here. I used 2 of these and I bolted them to the condenser, which is easy for me. Or you also have these wire cords you can pull through the condenser and zip them up like zip ties. You can do that, but I personally don't want to do that. And then here is the AC pressure for when you charge it. Where I'm at is Miami, of course. It's very hot right now, summer, so around 90 to 95 degrees. Some days are 85 when it's cloudy, but whatever. I mean, in general, just up to 55 psi. And then you've got the matching high pressure side here. So around 225 to 270 is where I'd say you're good. For me, I just dumped the 12 ounces of R134 in it because that's how much it takes anyway, as it says here. This is pretty much the information about your AC system, like it says, helpful. Read the following: AC systems, the part number you ordered, of course, installed by professionals, but I mean, who cares? Do it yourself. Don't overcharge the system, obviously very important. It says system will take 12 ounces of R134. Obviously, I believe them, and it works for me because I've been using the AC for around 2 days now. It's nice and cool, no sweating, nice and dry in the car. Of course, this is true. If you use more hose, you might need to put a little bit more, but I didn't have that problem because I used a bit less than what they gave me. I actually have some of the medium-sized hose left over because I cut in half to use it on in my use. And pretty much the customer service is great. You can ask them whatever questions you want. Super chill guys. They know what they're talking about. They'll help you if you don't know where a part goes or if you want to know what a part does. And yeah, that's it. So that's all the papers they give you. Pretty helpful, but you got to do some thinking yourself, as goes for any custom project. Yeah,